Considering the ever-increasing estimated cost, is it now time to scrap HS2?
Well, that got a very loud cheer from quite a lot of you. I'm sure there's people who don't agree with that view, but, I'll come to you in a minute there, sir.
The big question is it deliverable, I think? You know, you ask for HS2, you might end up with HS 1.2. This might be the worst sequel in history.
And the bigger problem that we have is connectivity between East and West in the UK and between the nation's regions. We are the most regionally unbalanced country in the EU. London is this huge, you know, black hole that sucks in investment, people, everything else from the rest of the country. And actually what we really need is, you know, to invest in our infrastructure as part of a coherent industrial strategy to rebalance our economy away from London and away from finance.
We've heard in the media recently that the trains are going to go slower so that they can save money and they're not going to be so frequent. We already have a very good service here in Chiltern Line. It stops at stations, we can get on it here, don't have to go into London. And if anyone saw the dispatches programme last week and realised the terrible time people have from Manchester round on their trains, the money should go up there, it shouldn't be delivered down here.
Woman in the blue coat.
Rather than building another train line to connect two places that are already connected by a train line, wouldn't it be better to connect places that aren't already connected by train lines, like Milton Keynes and Aylesbury and Oxford? Those are just examples, obviously, but there must be examples like that all over the country. And wouldn't that make more sense? Because, you know, there are a lot of journeys that, like, you live somewhere like this, and if you're going into London, you can go on the train, but if you're going almost anywhere else, you have to go by car or bus, because there are no trains going in other directions.
A woman at the front here.
It said that the HS2 is already overspent, just like the Garden Bridge that was overspent has been scrapped as well. And Northern Powerhouse is supposed to be less to actually build it and give back more economically. This is what's being reported in dispatches. So why are we doing it when we've got so many things in public funding that we need to spend money on? It could be diverted.
Now, you, sir, shouted out that you support HS2, I think.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. OK, hang on a minute.
Oh, no,
is there
I want to get out of
anyone
here
here?
alive.
Well, what is your view, then?
My view is HS2 is a white elephant. That money could be so much better spent, as said there, different lines, different places in the country. It's just an absolute white elephant.
Who supports HS2? All the hands have gone down. Literally nobody. Yes. Let's have you again, sir, then. Go on. You're the only person who's put their hand up.
Well, basically, I live in Milton Keynes. It doesn't affect me.
It's fine we're about to break out when we're discussing Brexit, but they are 100% unified as a country.
Go on, so what have you got to say?
From a national perspective, it's a good project to have. It will connect the countries and make it smaller, more reachable from different places. There's a lot. I used to live in Aylesbury. I used to live in Aylesbury. There's a lot of NIMBYism around, I have to say, and it's just the and
do the train stations in the north first.
David Davis, I think today was describing it as a white elephant. Your view?
Oh, it's a complete waste of money, and the cost goes up and up. Dare I say, North East Somerset's some way from HS2, so I can't be accused of being a NIMBY. I just believe government money should be spent well. And there was a brilliant report by a former chairman of British Airways when Gordon Brown was Prime Minister that said there were thousands of small projects you should do across the country in various forms of transport that got rid of bottlenecks. Not one of them being enormously expensive, not one of them likely to bear the name of a politician who had set it up, but that each one would have improved people's travel times and standard of living and daily life. That's what I would like to see happen. As it happens, a couple of these things have taken place in my own constituency. Little pinch points and junctions that have been widened, and suddenly they flow and they cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, not hundreds of millions, into £100 billion. I'm not purely saying this to suck up to this brilliant audience, but I would scrap HS2 immediately and not worry about the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is that once you've spent a couple of £1 billion, you have to keep on spending, otherwise you've wasted the couple of billion. No, you save the 98 billion, and that is what we should do. I always get a briefing from Central Office before these events, and they gave me the figure on how much had been spent on railway investing, which is a record figure. They then said to me, but half of that's on HS2, so it may not be so popular in Aylesbury. So the money is being spent, it's just not being spent the way you and I would like.
Lisa.
Well, first of all, can I thank those members of the audience who've shown this outbreak of north-south solidarity and spoken up for the crumbling services that we've got in the north. Look, I've always felt that we need better national infrastructure. I don't want to see us pose a choice between local, regional and national infrastructure. I think we can actually do all of those things. We're one of the richest countries in the world, and if the government can find large sums of money at short notice to try and buy off MPs about local train stations, or to try and target MPs like me to try in a vain attempt to attract our Brexit vote, then they can afford ongoing investment in our railways and our bus networks. The trouble for me with High Speed 2 is that it's become a complete mess, and I don't think anyone's really got any confidence that we're going to be able to sort it out. I mean, frankly, after a year of rail chaos in the north, I wouldn't trust Chris Grayling to run a bath, let alone a national rail project. And the problem for me with this debate is that I cannot go back to my constituents and make the case for this level of investment in High Speed 2 when for a year people have been struggling just to simply get home on time to read their kids' bedtime stories. I've got young people who, because of the decimation of our bus services, which we never talk about in national politics, cannot take up apprenticeships that they've been offered. These are real-life consequences for people that are happening right now.